make it up.
But I had some news for folks that related to a lot of what you have been addressing, and I just wanted to add a little bit to that if I could. Is that okay regarding this new quantum system?
Sorry?
I said I just wanted to relate a little a different slant on some of the QFS, if that's okay.
Yeah, please.
All right, folks. Well, first of all, this is all based on the cross-border interbank payment system. That's called CIPS, C-I-P-S.
Yep,
and
that's correct.
Inside CIPS is the QFS.
Yep.
And CIPS is an artificial intelligence private network, a virtual private network. It's a QFS 3D smartphone and digital currency that you'll be able to operate on any media format. I'm trying to get this right, be on camera and still talk to y'all. I don't want to get sidetracked. It provides a pristine, clean integrity in the movement of money of funds from central banking to destination accounts. We're going from banking to destination accounts, which is very, very big. It will cover a new global network for transfer of asset-backed funds and will replace the U.S. centrally controlled SWIFT system. This has not fully happened yet, but it will protect all parties from corruption, usury, and manipulation within the banking system that currently is happening. It will assure the banks are monitored and protected within the agreed upon contractual obligations with regard to the transfer of funds. Now, this is what was advocated in the Gold Treaty. And that's even back 20 years ago, they were saying that, you're not going to get paid on the programs you're in until we have a new gold-backed dollar. And we got to get rid of all the bad guys. So they told us that 20 years ago. Mm-hmm. And here we are still trying to get there. And so now is, to read that again, is what was advocated in the Gold Treaty, completely independent from the existing central banking system. It makes all other transfer systems obsolete. This is not a cryptocurrency. It is a system based on asset-backed digital currency. Mm-hmm. This security basis is based on a photonic technology that does, get this, 3.5 trillion frames, not bytes, per second.
That's correct.
This replaces the dynamic routing system that we currently have. It's a true physical GPS authentication between the sender and receiver. The artificial intelligence that controls this will control the transfers and independently controls the global network. The AI program will handle instant settlements, mm-hmm. real time in seconds. Mm-hmm. And we know that because we know of a fellow that did a transfer recently, within the last couple of weeks ago, actually, that it was landed in 5 seconds as opposed to like 24 or 48 hours.
That's correct.
So we know it's operational. It's just not fully.
No, we're transiting from one to the other.
Exactly. Okay. And so the AI controls this, will control the transfers and independently controls the global network. The AI program will handle instant settlements, real time in seconds. It assigns a digital number to each fiat dollar, fiat euro, and fiat yen or won that currently exist in every bank account all over the world. Correct. The digital numbers are monitored in real time. Yeah. The physical GPS location between the sender and the receiver will be set up to provide an unbreakable security in regard to who sent it and who received it. This is very important. The sovereign currency of the U.S., the Republic of the U.S., is the USN, the United States note. This is the gold. This is in the Gold Treaty and also given to my contact by Interpol back in 2014. Now, the artificial intelligence will be applied all across the QFS system. It will work with the CIPS system. Now, what's that, people? Were you listening? The cross-border interbank payment system in regard to language processing across the entire user base. This means the entire account holding base around the world. Everybody will be on it. One base. It will facilitate the adaptation and will evolve over time by recognizing the new behavior and recommending appropriate banking responses. You will actually be able to do your banking on your phone within the self-contained system. You can do your banking on your desktop, your mobile, or your handheld. The AI exchange, the Asset Chain Collection, or ACC, is a distributed general ledger. This new system will provide breakdowns inside the asset chain collection to maintain custody and control of that information. Asset standard tokens inside the ACC that will interchange between your currency, which is the US note, to the SDR, or special drawing rights, accounts that were developed under Bretton Woods. For example, if you took $10 of a US note to buy something in Russia, it will go from a $10 US note to a $10 SDR to a $10 Russian ruble. This will allow you to purchase all around the world. We are talking about parity of all currencies, and this is how they will do it. The cross-border interbank payment system virtual currency will be based around the QFS VPN and will be used for the purchase of goods and services all around the world. There will be 100 million coins minted in gold. There will be 100 million coins minted in silver. Once minted, there will never be more or fewer in existence. This is all around the world. Each CIPS coin has a virtual counterpart. So there's a real life coin and a duplicate in the system, which will keep track of it at all times. Each coin has a barcode for ownership and a GPS tracking code on the coin. This is gold-backed Basel 3, 4, and 5 coins. Under the US system, it's called a GSM, or a gold-silver measure. This is not made up and totally compliant with what we've been talking about with the gold treaty. There's no actual person in charge of this system. It is artificial intelligence. There will always be transparency, the pristine, clean integrity of all transactions. Now, when you go to your exchange, you'll be asked to set up your own security ID and new account. This is for currency owners that have, things such as the Rial, the Vietnamese Dong, the Iraqi dinar, and even those that are taking the chance on the Zimbabwe dollars. And so when you go to your exchange, you will be asked to set up your own new security ID and new account. This new security ID will immediately debit your old fiat accounts at your bank and credit your new QFS account with the asset-backed funds on a one-to-one basis. This is not exchange ratios. This is about your old US federal fiat dollars going into new asset-backed funds, the US notes. You will be prompted to go to the next window. It's all on a computer, and your existing funds will show as an asset-backed funds as well as a ledger balance of asset-backed funds. So if you have $100 in your old fiat bank account, it will show you now have $100 in your new QFS system account. There will be no commingling of fiat and asset-backed funds. The QFS is running but not fully operational and will not be until the codes for the new gold-backed currency are entered by my contact. This new system is totally secure, totally under your control. No other person can access your accounts and no banks. Banks will no longer be in control. So I know a lot of people, especially ones that never had a lot of money, which is the majority of us, they were real scared about the banks interfering, taking funds and so forth. That won't be possible under this new system. And I got to admit, I had fear myself because I know in the programs that were going on 20 years ago, those funds were transferred to all 6 major US banks, Charlie, and all 6 of them took hundreds of millions off the top. Each bank that had it. They all got caught, but did they care? Because the fine they paid was so much less than what they stole.
Sure.
And Wells Fargo is the last one to have been blessed with it because there wasn't anybody else to go to. And they did it too. They just got caught sooner. So the banker is not your friend, folks. They're out there looking out for themselves, and you got to look out for yourself. But fortunately, we have this new system on our side now. So the QFS ends all the corruption which now exists. The QFS covers the world's transfer of asset-backed funds and works it via 24 GPS orbiting satellites protected by the new U.S. Space Force.
Mhm.
The new QFS headquarters is located in Switch, Las Vegas. That's very interesting because we'd always been told the new Treasury headquarters would be in Reno, which it is. I've had friends that have been in it. It would no longer be in D.C., surrounded by all of the cabal and mafia and all those guys. In the Reno, Las Vegas area, there are 3 large military bases protecting the area. There were going to be, and probably now are, 56 data center units in the U.S., and there are 192 data centers planned for the world.
Mhm.
Ultimately, there will be a U.S. Note Ultimate Cloud system. The heritage funds are involved in the U.S. Treasury. That's one of the other programs. The GCR will be within the QFS system. It will use a specific quantitative formula to establish the amount of currency available in any country that is gold-backed by the QFS. The formula will establish a fair value based on the country's assets. The price of gold will become irrelevant once this is all complete. Included in the formula are in-ground assets, its population as an asset, and other parameters. This formula will apply to each country so they can be on par with one another. This is the global currency reset. All currencies we will reset at the same time. And I had, well, let's see here. All right, I'll give you a little bit more. Now, there will be no baskets. A lot of people, because we always heard, and I heard that forever, that there were about 7 currencies in the first basket.
Yeah.
And now they're saying, no, there will be no baskets. All currencies go at the same time. It's one shot. It has to. No fiat currencies will exist in the QFS system.
Right.
This formula is already in existence. That's why the deep state is fighting this so hard.
Yep.
Once this is all in place, they can no longer steal from the public. They can no longer do financial scams or Ponzi schemes or sell drugs. There will be no corruption, period. Any country not GSARA compliant will be left out of the QFS and eventually left out of all international trade. The video that Charlie and I both posted recaps everything that's been said for years from Interpol, the White Dragon, and other sources. And I'm very pleased that Charlie posted this as well. You can go see it on his YouTube or my Twitter account, which is Patriot Rod Steele. It's down a ways, but you'll find it. And be sure to download and watch it yourself. It does give a good idea on what's going on and what we're looking for. I still think we will have some martial law and bigger arrests that are still coming. This whole thing starts after the elections, so that the deep state, cabal, Illuminati, mafia, evildoers, as the Bush or Shrub used to say, and he was one of them. The whole thing starts after that. Also, we want to recap the gold treaty was signed on March 21st, 2013. In these protocols, it advocates and commands that the team visits my contact with the codes to release the gold for the new Republic Treasury of the United States. At that moment, all fiat currencies will go to zero. We will have a turn in time of about 30 to 60 days at a 1-to-1 ratio. Also, all derivatives will go away, completely wiped out. At this point, we will go into a worldwide debt jubilee. The treaty itself will provide the gold bullion that will back all the currencies of the world for parity of the currencies with no more petrodollar involvement. The gold will not be released until the U.S. corporation is dead. This also happens immediately when my contact submits those codes.
Mm-hmm.
And I could go on, but you're probably bored. And
that is such incredible information, because the audience that we have, Ron, that will join up so many dots for people. Jack Kidd and myself have done a couple of videos on Nasara and Jasara, and the global financial reset. But that's given us some really good clarity there as to what's happening. And we're very, very nearly there.
Well, I did have, now this is over about 3 weeks ago, so it could be a little bit out of date. But over the past 3 weeks, 97 of the top 100 central banks have been in the process of becoming fully functional on the QFS RTGS instant settlement system.
Yep.
There were 82 smaller central banks that also would be connected. There were a total of 179 central banks listed by the Bank of International Settlements, with about 80 more when counting regional monetary authorities among the 209 countries all being connected. The list of federal banks was according to region. The federal branches were serving as extensions of the U.S. Treasury. They would monitor M1 and M2 money flow and supply for the U.S. Treasury under the QFS system, so there are no distortions.
Yep.
Inflation could no longer ease distortions, though market supply and demand and interest rate policy, as in the past, under the Cabal central bank system. And I've actually got a list of all the major federal banks that are involved in what percentage and how much money they've got. Number one, as you and I discussed privately, is the Royal Bank of Zimbabwe. We're talking, Charlie, I can't even put the zeros on this.
No, I know.
835 quadrillion.
Yeah.
That's 13 metric tons of in-ground gold estimated to yield 14 billion per year by RBZ going forward through the Central Bank of Zimbabwe.
Yeah.
And then it goes on, Bank of Japan, Bank of China, Deutsche, Bundesbank, Bank of France, Bank of Italy, Swiss National Bank, Bank of Spain. You're number 8 with, let's see, 861.5 billion in the Central Bank of Europe through the Bank of Spain. And it goes on, Brazil, England. I'll just rattle off some of them off here. Reserve Bank of India, European Central Bank, Saudi Arabian Monetary Authority, Central Bank of China, Bank of Korea, Central Bank of Russia, Netherlands Bank, Monetary Authority of Singapore, Central Bank of Luxembourg, National View of Belgium, Bank of Mexico, Bank of Portugal, National Bank of the Republic of Austria, Bank of Thailand, Bank of Indonesia, Central Bank of Argentina, the Czech National Bank, Central Bank of Lebanon, Central Bank of the Republic of Turkey, Reserve Bank of Australia, National Bank of Poland, Bank of Israel, Bank of Greece, Central Bank of Ireland, Bank Negara, Malaysia, Central Bank of the United Arab Emirates, Bank of Canada, Central Bank of Iraq, Central Bank of the Philippines, Central Bank of Nigeria, Central Reserve Bank of Peru, the Norges Bank and Central Bank of Europe, the National Bank of Denmark, the Qatar Central Bank, I can't even pronounce this one, Severes Riksbank in the Central Bank of Europe, the National Bank of Slovakia.
There's not 209 countries in the world, but there are there's countries and territories.
Okay.
So, yeah. And for me, the interesting point was that the first country to sign up to the JASARA system was North Korea, because they'd lost all their enemies. Yeah, they'd lost all their allies.
Got nobody to turn to.
I think the last country was Lebanon.
Wow.
But no, they've all come into line right now. And the beautiful thing is as you rightly said, unless they stay in line, they'll be kicked out. And if they're kicked out, then that'll be the end of them. And also, as part of the agreement, you can't go to war against anybody and be a part of JASARA.
Isn't that wonderful?
That's absolutely amazing.
I mean, that's a godsend.
Well, this is the time we're moving into right now, which is absolutely wonderful. And it's just a shame more people aren't aware of what's actually happening right now. There's so many people that are fast asleep. They have no idea what's happening. They're panicking about the virus. They're panicking about the vaccine and the 5G. And this is all part of the smokescreen to cover up this global financial reset and the removing of the deep state and the cabal. And look, we're nearly there. And then
well, my own kids won't listen, Charlie. You know, I was talking to him yesterday, and he goes, Dad, you're so absorbed in your right wing ultra conservatism, you don't even listen to reason. I said, this is the reason.
Exactly. This is why I've tried to keep everything as close to fact as I possibly can, because everything I was told 6 years ago, 2 years ago, and then in November, December last year, so far, everything I was being told has happened. And I've got it inside me right now, Ron, I've got a massive orchestra wanting to shout out and say, I told you so, but that's not going to achieve anything. That's not going to achieve anything. So it's just a question of waiting and just being humble about it and saying, we're getting there, and things are really happening now.